For the last couple of years, the noise around AI has been, well, it's been deafening. But underneath all the hype, it's been almost impossible to tell what's really happening to our jobs. So today, we're going to cut through all of that because we finally have some incredible, hard data that tells the real story. You know the debate, right? It's been split right down the middle. On one side, you've got this vision of AI as the ultimate co-pilot, this amazing tool that's going to make us all more productive and free us up from boring work. And on the other side, the fear that it's a job killer and a huge wave of unemployment is right around the corner. So, which one is it? Well, a couple of researchers from Harvard just dropped an absolute bombshell of a study that gives us our first real answer. And I mean, this is not just some small survey or a bunch of speculation. They analyzed a full decade of data, from 2015 all the way to 2025, covering the resumes and hiring data of over 62 million employees across almost 285,000 US companies. This is basically the first time we've gotten a God's eye view of what AI is actually doing to the job market. All right, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at a really strange trend that's popped up in the job market. Then we'll dig into the evidence that points the finger directly at AI. We'll uncover the quiet strategy companies are using, find out which group of young people is getting hit the hardest, and the answer will probably surprise you. And finally, we'll talk about what this all means for the future of building a career. Okay, first up, the Great Divergence. So before even looking at AI directly, the researchers just took a big picture look at the labor market, and right away, they spotted something really troubling. A trend that just didn't look right. What they found was this huge opening gap. Take a look at this chart. For senior workers, employment growth was strong, just chugging right along, going up and up. But for junior workers, it's a totally different story. Their employment growth just flatlined, completely stalled out. And the timing of the split, the sudden divergence, it lines up perfectly with the explosion of generative AI in late 2022. It's like a pair of scissors opening up, right when ChatGPT hit the scene. So you see the timing and you think, okay, that's suspicious, but a correlation isn't proof, right? So the big question for the researchers became, can we actually prove that AI is the force driving this wedge between junior and senior jobs? It was time to follow the data trail. And to do that, you have to solve a massive problem first. I mean, you can't just call up every company and ask, hey, are you guys using AI? You need a real, concrete signal that a company isn't just talking about AI, but is actively putting its money and resources into integrating it. So how on earth did they figure that out? Their method was just brilliant. They scanned a mind-boggling 245 million job postings, and they were looking for a very specific type of job they called an AI integrator. Now, this isn't someone who just uses ChatGPT to write an email. These are people whose entire job is to implement and embed AI tools deep into a company's core operations. By finding the companies hiring for these roles, they could cleanly separate the true AI adopters from everybody else. And just look at this timeline. Before 2023, the number of firms hiring these AI integrators was just a tiny trickle. Then, boom, right at the start of 2023, it just explodes. It goes from around 30 a month to a peak of over 450 new firms in a single month. The timing lines up exactly with that drop in junior hiring we saw earlier. The case is getting stronger. And this is the smoking gun. When the researchers compared the AI-adopting firms to the non-adopters, the difference was just crystal clear. You can see it right here. Junior employment at the non-adopters stayed pretty stable, but at the AI-adopting firms, it took a nosedive. This is what allowed them to isolate AI as the key variable, the thing that was making the difference. And it all came down to this one stark number. After you control for everything else, company size, industry, you name it, junior employment at the firms that adopted AI fell by 7.7% relative to the firms that didn't. This isn't a gut feeling. It's a hard number that quantifies the hit to entry-level jobs. The first cut from AI was real and, yeah, it was deep. Okay, so we know that firms using AI are cutting back on their junior workforce. The next logical question is, how are they doing it? Because understanding the actual strategy they're using is absolutely crucial. I mean, it's the first thing you'd think of, right? That the rise of AI must have triggered a huge wave of layoffs for all the entry-level people already in their jobs. Well, the answer might actually surprise you. The data showed something completely fascinating. The big drop in junior staff wasn't because of layoffs. In fact, separations, which includes people getting fired or just leaving, actually went down a little bit. The entire hit, all of it, came from one thing: a massive 22% drop in hiring new people. And get this, promotions for the junior employees who were already there actually went up. The researchers put it perfectly with this quote: companies weren't showing their existing junior staff the door. Instead, they were quietly closing the door on new people trying to get in. Think about it. All that basic, repetitive grunt work that used to be the training ground for new hires was now being automated away. It's a much stealthier change than mass layoffs, but it's totally reshaping the entry point into the professional world. So we know AI is shrinking the number of entry-level jobs by slowing down hiring. But the story gets even more specific because the data revealed a really counterintuitive pattern about which young people are being affected the most. You'd probably think, okay, the more prestigious your university, the safer you are, right? That an Ivy League degree is like a shield against all this. But is that actually what's happening out there in the age of AI? Well, what the data showed was this surprising U-shaped curve. The biggest hit wasn't for graduates from the least prestigious schools. Their job numbers barely changed. And it wasn't the absolute top-tier elite grads either. Nope. The steepest decline, more than 8%, was for graduates from those really good, solid, mid-tier universities. The middle got hit the hardest. So why? What's going on here? Well, it all seems to come down to a simple trade-off. Companies seem to think that grads from elite, Tier 1 schools bring something so unique to the table that AI can't replace it, so they're still worth the high salary. On the other end of the spectrum, grads from lower prestige, Tier 5 schools have the advantage of being low cost, and that cost acts like a shield. It's the middle that's in the danger zone. Their work is the easiest to substitute with AI, but they don't have the unique value add of the top or the low cost advantage of the bottom. They're getting squeezed. All right, let's pull back from the specific data points and ask the big question. What does this all mean for the future? This isn't just about a tough job market right now. These findings have huge implications for the whole idea of what a career looks like. Here's a really critical economic idea to keep in your head. AI is an amazing tool for producing things more efficiently, but AI doesn't buy things. A healthy economy is a loop, you know? People earn wages, and then they spend those wages on goods and services, which creates more jobs. But if AI replaces wage earners and all the economic gains flow just to the owners of the technology, who's left to buy all the stuff? What this study really does is provide the first hard evidence for a brand new economic theory called seniority-biased technological change. See, past technologies often went after routine, middle-skilled work, but generative AI seems to be different. It's going straight for the entry-level stuff. It's not destroying the whole career ladder, it's just taking out the first few rungs, making it incredibly hard for anyone to even get on it in the first place. So, what are we supposed to do about all this? For all of us as individuals, the message seems pretty clear. We've got to double down on the things that make us uniquely human. Deep critical thinking, creativity, real empathy. It's not about fighting AI, it's about learning to dance with it, to use it as a tool that amplifies our own skills. That old idea of a stable, linear career path is probably over. The future might belong to what you could call career nomads, people who are always learning, always adapting, and constantly reinventing themselves. Look, this data isn't some prophecy of doom and gloom. It's a wake-up call. It's telling us that the traditional career path, the one where you start at the bottom and climb your way up, is being fundamentally broken. The technology is here, and it's already changing things fast. So the question for all of us isn't if this is happening, it's what are we as individuals, as companies, as a society going to do about it? The ladder is changing. So how do we rebuild the rungs?